నన్ను వీడి పోరాదే అందే కన్నే ఓ కన్నే.
Welcome to DC Conversations. Uh, so first things first, congratulations on your latest single, Kanne, which is soon to be released. Um, I mean, this appears to be a love ballad. So can you elaborate first thing on the meaning of what exactly this means?
I think the song is at the core of it is a song about longing and the yearning for a love that is not necessarily lost, but one that you might have felt like many lifetimes ago almost, and uh imagining if it is from lifetimes ago, that fragment of that yearning sticks with you through lifetimes, and you start kind of feeling like you're coming closer to reconnecting with that loved one, or the spirit of that loved one, and it's about that. It's that kind of yearning and feeling like one is coming closer to it but not ever quite reaching that point is what the core of the song is about.
Okay, considering the song has a certain emotional depth, how did you approach composing and producing Kanne?
Yeah, I started working on the demo. It's actually an idea I had from like 2022, I want to say, so 3 years ago.
Wow.
Something I just kind of made off the cuff. At that point, it was just like 1 minute long, very rough. And then a few months ago, I just happened to open back that session. I was randomly going through my sessions and I opened that one back up, and I was immediately drawn to it. I just felt like an urgency to have to, dive back into that song and complete it. So, the process, so the initial seed was from a few years ago, but once I listened to it, um, it really resonated with where I'm at in my life right now, both emotionally, spiritually, and also artistically. So I just kind of dove in with a sense of urgency that was completely self-imposed. It was not an external thing at all. Just to complete the song, not thinking about releasing it, not none of that. Just like, oh, this feels like something I really need to finish now. So I dove right in, and within a couple months completed the song and video. So I think the song, the arrangement, the production, I've produced it as well, and kind of pieced it all together, and the lyrics written by Kittu. There's this urgency in it. There's a longing, obviously, and a yearning, and with love ballads, there is a certain like relaxed-ish pace, but at the same time, there's definitely an urgency that exists at the very core of the song.
Okay. So yeah, I did watch it on your Instagram account. So yes, uh, very beautiful, in fact.
Thank you.
Uh, and also, you have partnered with Warner Music India. And how has that impacted your music and artistic vision?
Yeah, it's a really exciting partnership for me. I love the work that they've done, and for me in this phase of my career, I've been doing playback now for over a decade and enjoyed great success and love. And it came a point in my career where obviously I'm continuing that part of my music and my artistry, but I really wanted to zero back in on my own forms of self-expression. And I think I have a very unique perspective to offer the Indian fan base, both within the country and in the diaspora around the world. So partnering with them was kind of a no-brainer because they do really great work, and the spirit of what we wanted to achieve, which is really taking from the roots, for me personally, of my music, which is Carnatic music, and then envisioning that for the future. So taking Southern Indian sounds, music, and just really amplifying it throughout the globe is the goal, and creating music that feels like it's never been heard before but still feels very rooted and grounded. So that's the kind of core ethos of this partnership between myself and Warner Music India, and we're just in the beginning of taking these first steps, but it's very exciting.
Most of your songs have this classical touch, right? I mean, it's very evident and apparent that yes, you've been trained in classical music. How much of a difference do you think it makes to a singer? And also, do you think classical is making a comeback because the uniqueness of music and the retention is gone?
I think, first, to answer the first question, I think for a singer, it is imperative that they figure out what their core is. You know what I mean? Every musician, every singer, every artist is going to have their own very unique, very nuanced roots. that makes them who they are. For me, that happens to be Carnatic music. I started learning when I was 3, and it's been the form that has really kind of given me everything. So for me, it's been that specific form. And Indian classical music has been very important. But if there's a folk musician whose roots is in folk music, then I think it's important for that vocalist or that artist to really dig into that. My whole MO with music and what inspires me the most is when, both from myself and other artists, when I see other artists really just unapologetically, fearlessly embracing who they are, um, no matter what the trend is. Just like knowing oneself, I think as an artist is super important. So yeah, I think more than Indian classical music or a specific genre, I think an artist really kind of tapping into themselves and saying, doing the work to understand, okay, what makes me me? What are my roots? And how can I take that and share it with the world? I think should be the goal. So for a vocalist, whatever your grounding is. And I think classical music. The second question was, is classical music making a comeback? Is what you said?
Yes, yes.
I think I don't know if a comeback or not. I think there's always going to be a space for it. I think there's something very timeless about um, Indian classical forms, whether it's Carnatic music, Hindustani music, and all the shades within and around. And I think music, like everything else, moves in cycles. So we will see certain eras and certain phases of music where more classical sounds are, at the forefront. I'd like to think that my kind of emergence when I came into the film music scene or just the Indian music scene in general, and then what I've done over the years. I would like to think that I've contributed to, bringing Carnatic music in a unique way back into the conversation, and I think it'll always be there, and there'll be certain phases where it ebbs and flows, and I think that's fine. I think um, one thing I know for sure is that human beings, like, we don't control music. There's a higher power, and music is like very connected to the divine. So there's always going to be these phases of things moving in and out, and I think it's pretty fascinating to watch as, uh, watch as the world moves and how these different music forms, these different genres, these different influences kind of make their way into our taste. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also worked on several Telugu film projects. I mean, you also
Yeah.
had a concert in Hyderabad, and I remember people calling me up for passes saying they're not able to get tickets because it was jam-packed.
Yeah.
I mean, can you share your experience working on a Telugu movie that actually stood out for you?
Sure. I think before I answer that, though, I'm the Hyderabad concert was really special for me because I hadn't been back there in like 3 years, I want to say. And I think it was around like 14, 15,000 people in attendance that night. And it was just such a powerful energy. And the week before we had played in Vijayawada, which was also equally as inspiring. So it was so good after a long time. Obviously I've had these mega hit songs in Telugu, and I owe
Yeah.
so much of my career to my fan base, my Telugu speaking fan base. So getting back out there in February and doing those 2 shows was beautiful for me because I got to reconnect. The internet, the phone, all social media is fine, but there's nothing like being there and looking at people's eyes and really feeling that energy and exchanging it
Right.
with them. So from that context, I'm so excited to put out Kanne, which is going to be my first Telugu original song. Um, and as far as I see, I don't know that there's a ton of original or independent music coming out in Telugu. And I think there's so much potential because there's so much beautiful music coming from the Telugu states. And I think there's just my wish and my hope is the floodgates will open, and that there's more and more artists, Telugu artists, who put out original music. I just wanted to say that first. In terms of a session that was really magical for me, I think the one that will always stick in my head is Adiga Adiga, which is my first like pure Telugu song. After having done dubs for Nuvunte Na Jataka, which was Ennodi Nirindal in Tamil, and Yadike Adiye in Tamil. This was the first one where it was just a pure Telugu song, and that was Gopi Sundar is the music composer, and I remember Kona Venkat Garu, who's the writer of that film, Ninukori, was there. Um, and it was just really special because it was my first time really diving into the language. And I was honestly a bit nervous because up until that point, most of my work had been in Tamil, which is my mother tongue. But yeah, I think that session was really magical because as it progressed, I went in somewhat nervous, like I said. And then as we were finishing, I was like, oh, this feels really good. And the audience very immediately, once that came out, embraced me and really kind of took me in as one of their own. So I've always been very honored by that.
So what's next for you in terms of music releases and projects?
Kanne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't speak on anything else. In terms of other film projects, my whole kind of thing with that is when, as the world knows, I mean, as they release, the world will know. I don't like to speak on it before.
Okay, so I mean, you have a huge Telugu fan base, like you said. Could you sing your favorite song in Telugu? Just a few lines.
Sure. Sure. I'm going to sing two things. I'm going to sing a line of this one, and then I'm going to sing a line of my favorite film song. I'll sing Adiga Adiga first, since I spoke about that. Adiga Adiga Yadalo Layanadiga Kadile Kshanama Cheliedani Nuveneni Nannu ఊహించలేను నా ప్రతి ఊహలోను వెతికితే మనకదే నీలోని ఉన్నా నిన్ను కోరి ఉన్నా నిజమై నడిచా జతగా.
So what's been your favorite Telugu song other than Adiga Adiga? You've sung like so many songs which are iconic.
Yeah, I don't really like to play favorites. I think all of them are pretty magical to me. I'm always honored to sing all the ones I've sung.
Great. So any Telugu projects happening?
Like I said, I don't really speak on film projects until they come out.
Okay, but looking forward to that. And
Thank you.
all the best for Kanne. Yeah,
Thank you.
we are just waiting to hear the whole song.
Super. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Have a great.
Thank you for your
have a good
time.
night. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.